Today I will discuss about the ocean temperature. Firstly, we need to introduce about the ocean temperature and its significance. Temperature of ocean is very important because the marine ecosystem has been sustained by the temperature of the temperature of the ocean water. Now, the ocean water and its temperature that affects the climate of the coastal area and coastal ecosystem also. The surface and subsurface temperature of ocean water is very significant in different aspects. Standard thermometer is used to measure the surface temperature, and reversing thermometers and thermographs are used to measure the subsurface temperature. Now we need to learn about the ocean layer. If I go through the depth from the surface layer to beneath bottom layer, we can get three significant layers according to the temperature. One is surface layer, second is thermocline, and third one is deep water layer. Now the first layer, that is surface layer, or it is also called as mixed layer. It is a top layer and near about 500 meter thick. The temperature varies between this layer is about 20 degree to 25 degrees centigrade, and it is located in the tropics, but it is not common in the mid latitude. It only develops in the mid latitude during summer. Now the thermocline layers, that is the second layers, vertical zone of ocean water below the first layer, and that is in that layer we can experience the rapid rate of decrease of temperature within the degrees of depth. And third is the deep water layer, that is very cold and extended up to the deep ocean. The polar areas have only one layer of cold water from the surface to the deep ocean floor. That is the diagram of three significant layers, that is the water surface to below 200 meter, that is surface layer, from 200 meter to 1000 meter, that is thermocline, and below 1000 meters, that is called deep ocean. Now the factors affecting distribution of temperature of ocean water. We are also known that the temperature of ocean water is not equally distributed all over the world. The first factor is latitude. The temperature of surface water decreases from the equator towards the poles because the insolation, and become more and more slanting, and thus the amount of insolation decreases poleward accordingly. The temperature of surface water between 40 degree north and 40 degree south is lower than air temperature, but it becomes higher than air temperature between 40 degree latitude and pole in the both hemisphere. Now I am coming to the second point, that is unequal distribution of land and water. The temperature of ocean water varies in the northern and the southern hemisphere because the dominance of land in the former and water in the latter. The oceans in the northern hemisphere receive more heat due to their contact with a large extent of the land and their counterparts in the southern hemisphere, and thus the temperature of surface water is comparatively higher in the former than the latter. Now the third point, that is prevailing wind condition. Wind direction largely affect the distribution of temperature of ocean water. The wind blowing from the land towards the ocean and seas drive warm surface water away from the coast, resulting into the upwelling of cold bottom water from the below. Thus the replacement of warm water by cold water introduces a longitudinal variation of mean temperature. Now another point is, that is the fourth point, that is the ocean current. Surface temperature of the ocean are controlled by the warm and cold current. Warm current raises the temperature of the affected area, and cold current lower down the temperature. For example, I can say that is the Gulf Stream that raises the temperature near the eastern coast of Northern America and western coast of Europe. Now there are several other conditions, there are several other factors that is related to the factor related to the related to distribution of temperature of ocean all over the world. That is local weather condition like storms, cyclones, hurricanes, fogs, cloudiness, evaporation, condensation, etc. And another one is the enclosed sea area, that is open sea area with their longitudinal location. And another last one is the longitudinal extension. Longitudinally more extensive sea in the low latitude have higher temperature than the longitudinal more extensive sea at the Mediterranean Sea records the higher temperature than the Gulf of California. And the enclosed sea area is the enclosed sea in the low latitude record relatively higher temperature than the open seas, and enclosed sea have low temperature than the open seas in the high altitude, that is the Baltic Sea, and it has recorded 0 degree centigrade, and open sea have the temperature is about 4.44 degree centigrade. In this map we can show the location or the path of warm and cold ocean current and their influencing area. Now the source and mechanism of ocean temperature. What are the sources and their mechanism affecting these points, these factors? One is sun, that is always the main source of power. Next is the insolation process. Third one is the angle of sun rays. Fourth is the length of the tail. Next one is the distance of the earth from the sun. Next one is the effect of the atmosphere, and last one is the latitudinal location. Now the range of temperature in the oceans. We can experience two types of range, that is diurnal range and another is the annual range. In the diurnal range, what is diurnal range? Actually, it is a difference of maximum and minimum temperature of a day. And what is annual range? Annual range is a maximum and minimum annual temperature of ocean water are recorded in the August and February respectively. In diurnal temperature range, the daily range of temperature of surface water of the ocean is almost around 1 degree centigrade only. And the daily range of temperature is usually 0.3 degrees centigrade in the low latitudes. Why? Because the condition of sky, stability and instability of the atmosphere, and the stratification of seawater. Maximum and minimum temperature of a sea surface water are recorded at 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. respectively. In the annual range of temperature, the maximum and minimum annual temperatures of ocean water are recorded in August and February respectively. The annual range of temperature of ocean water is -12 degrees centigrade. Regional variation in annual range of ocean temperature is very high because of insolation, nature of the sea and its shape, prevailing wind condition, location of sea, etc. The annual range of temperature is higher in the enclosed sea than its open sea. The size of oceans and seas affect annual range of temperature. The Atlantic Ocean recorded relatively high annual range of temperature than the Pacific Ocean. That is the temperature differences of different time. That is the picture of 2013 December, and that is the picture of August. That is the December pictures, and that is the picture of August. We can easily understand the temperature variation from those diagrams, how it is differ from month to month, season to season. This is the global temperature anomalies in land and sea in the month of January during 1880 and 2020. Now, ocean water heating and cooling process. Heating process are absorption of solar radiation, conventional currents, and the heat is produced due to the friction. And the cooling process is back radiation and the exchange of heat and the evaporations. Now, horizontal distribution of temperature in the ocean. Temperature of surface water of the ocean is about 26.7 degree. That is in average. Temperature gradually decreases from equator towards the pole because of the availability of solar radiations. Rate of decrease of temperature with increase of latitude is about 0.5 degree Fahrenheit per latitude. The average temperature becomes 22 degrees centigrade at the 20 degree latitude, 14 degrees centigrade at 40 degree latitude, and 0 degree centigrade near the poles. That is the variation of temperature change. The ocean in the northern hemisphere recorded relatively higher average temperature than the southern hemisphere. Most interestingly, it has been observed that highest temperature is not recorded at the equator. Rather, it is a bit further north from it. That is very interesting thing. Now, the average annual temperature of all oceans is about 17.2 degrees centigrade. That is equal to 65 degree Fahrenheit also. The average annual temperature of the northern and southern hemispheres are respectively 19.4 degrees centigrade and 16.1 degrees centigrade. Temperature variation in the northern and southern hemisphere is due to unequal distribution of land and water. Now, the decrease of temperature with the increase of latitude in the northern Atlantic Ocean is very low due to warm ocean current. Here, warm ocean current is present. Average temperature between 50 degree north to 70 degree north latitude is recorded as 5 degrees centigrade. That is equal to 41 degree Fahrenheit also. Decrease of temperature with the increase of latitude is more frequent in the southern Atlantic Oceans. Now, the average annual temperature of the Pacific Ocean is slightly higher than the Atlantic Oceans and the Indian Oceans. Lowest and highest temperature of the oceans recorded near New Scotland and Western Pacific Ocean respectively. Highest temperature of the Indian Ocean is recorded in the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, but enclosed sea in the Indian Ocean record still higher temperature. In the Bay of Bengal, surface temperature of ocean is increasing. That is why the rate of intensity and the number of tropical cyclone is now very common phenomena in this area. Now the last point is the average seasonal temperatures during that is February and August of surface water of the oceans have been represented through isotherms. Now we are coming through the vertical distribution of temperature. The surface temperature of ocean always remain maximum because it directly receives the insolation and heat is transmitted to the lower section of the ocean through conduction mechanism. Second point is solar radiation can penetrate up to 20 meter depth and do not go beyond 200 meter depth, but it varies in place to place, ocean to oceans. Rate of fall of temperature in vertical motion of a ocean varies frequently up to the depth of 200 meter, and thereafter the rate of decrease of temperature is slowed down. Temperature decreases from the surface of the ocean with increasing depth, and it is frequently changes and varies. In the depth of about 200 fathoms in the oceans, water remain uniformly cold. And interestingly, in the deepest range also water never freezes. That is very interesting thing. It has estimated that over 80% of all ocean water temperature ranges between 1.6 degrees centigrade and 4.4 degrees centigrade. Lastly, very interesting, that is the vertically ocean. We can divide ocean in a vertical section according to the vertical section in two specific zone. One is photic and another is aphotic. Photic is represent the upper surface up to the depth of 200 meter and receive solar radiation. Photic zones can receive solar radiation. The maximum phytoplankton or ecosystem is getting the solar radiation from that area. And the aphotic zones, it is extended from 20 meter depth to bottom of the I mean bottom of the sea, and that does not receive solar radiation. That has also effect on the ecosystem of that area. That is the vertical distribution of temperature. That is the increasing depth, and that is the temperature line. In the surface water, temperature is around 23 degrees centigrade, and it has declined for 4.4500 depth, that is about 3 to 4 degrees centigrade. And there is a significant this diagram is very significant, because we can understand the temperature difference in the across the vertical layer of the ocean in a different climatic zone. In the polar region, the condition is like that. In the tropical region, surface temperature is more, about 24-25 degree, and the temperate region, the surface temperature of the ocean is about 15, 16, 17 degree, and it has decreased along the same rate in the depth of the water after 1000 meter depth. Now those books we can reference for that matter. That is very important books. That is the Essential of Oceanography, Physical Oceanography, and Encyclopedia of Ocean Science. Thank you. Those are some links, that's a reference link that I have used for preparation of this diagram. Thank you to all.